Eric Paul's in here with 9 to 5 Sports. Going to be getting into the Wyndham Championship phase and ownership leverage plays. Now, this week is going to be a very, difficult week in the sense that there are about like 12 to 16 players I could make a strong argument are going to be good at outright bets. And just kind of talking about outright bets, I will have that like YouTube short, TikTok video posted this afternoon. So if you guys want to watch that, check that out. I guess another current call thing is I will be starting to get into preseason NFL DFS and kind of just NFL content as well. The Hall of Fame game is coming up. That'll be another video that I post later this evening. So be on the lookout for that stuff. But talking about ownership leverage, like we have so many quality plays that, no one should really be over-owned. And you can make a strong argument for a lot of these plays as to like why they should be high-owned or why they could win. And that's really the biggest problem with this week is that so many quality plays in which, you don't have to go in on anyone that is like chalky. Okay. So that's the one thing I want to let you guys know. It's like, you don't have to play chalk this week. There is one player that is extreme chalk that, does make sense, should be a safe play. But I'll show you guys, you don't have to play him. So, let's just get right into it. So the first thing I want to show you guys, though, is going to be kind of which players, data-wise, this is going to be the 9 to 5 data take here, is ranking out as a fade, okay? So what this is telling us is this is the data. This is something like an equation that I have made out that, it's very predictive in the sense that if a player's a core play, they're going to do well. They're most likely going to make the cut. If they're a high exposure play, that means they kind of just have one flaw in their game for that week. Mid exposure play, 2 flaws. Low exposure play, they have some upside, but they also have some risks associated with them. Lower exposure, not too good of a play. And then fades. Fades are pretty much golfers that at their current price point, they are just being overvalued a little bit too much. So someone like Terrell Haddon makes a lot of sense. Coming off of that 11th place finish, that's, I guess, the appeal. 9.4 is a lot to pay up for someone that, ranks out 25th in recent form rank. Not that good there. Not the best staff as well, just hasn't been playing well. Jason Day continues to kind of be a fade. He is very interesting. If you told me that his recent form was only 48th in the field, I probably would have not believed you. It seems like PGA Tour Live is always showing Jason Day. And typically speaking, he's playing well. He's making these nice shots. He's been in contention in a bunch of tournaments. It's just the fact that he hasn't been able to put together full rounds or full tournaments, and he kind of just slips up. So, it's no surprise that he's kind of ranking out that way. Johnny V, hit or miss, a miscut at this event twice. That makes sense. A miscut somewhat recently as well. Makes sense. Kevin Streelman. Kevin Streelman's an okay play. If you want to roll with Kevin Streelman, I don't mind him. I'm curious. Let's pull up his ownership, actually. Kevin Streelman. Just real quick, I'm very interested in that. Even though he's ranking out as a fade, he could potentially be someone that's, he's actually got some decent projected ownership. So maybe not. So he's going to be someone that we fade as well. Continuing to go lower, like Cameron Champ. It is so weird. Like, he has sucked, really up until 2 weeks ago. And he just started firing off birdies. Now, it'll be interesting to see if he can put together another good round. I don't think it's worth the risk. Like, the upside is there for other players in that price point range that you could roll with. But you guys get the sense of it. Really, the only top-end play that we're fading because they're just not that great of a play is Terrell Haddon. And then we got some other kind of big-name guys a little bit lower on that we're going to be fading data tag-wise, okay? I just want to point that out to you guys. Now, we're going to get into that ownership leverage tab here for you guys. So just looking at it, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. There we go. Okay, so just looking at it, I already have it boosted up to, who is 8% owned and who is going to be a little bit too high owned given that projected ownership. Both the Kims are popping up there. We got Tom Kim. That's why he's going by Tom. And then Siwoo Kims. Now, Tom, I actually don't mind. The data doesn't love him exactly this week just because we don't have that much key stat data on him throughout the whole season. So recent form-wise, it's really good. Like, if you want to roster him, I'm not going to really blame you. But I'll show you guys some other options you can go with in this price point range as we go. Same thing for someone like Siwoo Kim. Siwoo Kim, I love as a play. I think he makes for a great outright bet. Makes a lot of sense as a play. But there are going to be some other players in that price point range you could roll with at some reduced ownership. Kevin Streelman, That's funny. I thought he might be someone that would be under-owned. He's actually ranking out as over-owned. Adam Svensson, I like as a play. Bunch of top 20 finishes in a row. He's not too high owned to the point where you need to fade him. And I was currently being valued. People think he's going to finish around top 20. That's pretty much how he's being valued. And that's pretty much right around what he's been finishing. So I don't hate that. To me, an easy fade would be like someone like Kevin Kisner. Yes, he won this tournament last year. Hasn't been playing all that great of golf. I could easily see myself fading him. Sanjay, not too crazy. Like Sanjay, I do like as a play. I think you could easily go out of your way to play him. JT Poston, I see him more as a GPP only play. Scott Stallings, I see him more as a GPP only play. Denny McCarthy, probably a little bit too priced up this week for me to truly trust him, especially at that ownership. Like Denny McCarthy and Mark Harbert are pretty much the exact same plays. So let's just look at it in this sense. We're going to look at salary here and just show you guys kind of what I mean. So we can see a lot of people are defaulting to this 8K price point range, to the mid-tier price point range here. So like all these guys are kind of strangely over-owned to the point where like Taylor Pendrith under-owned, and I get it. Taylor Pendrith and like Adam Svensson and Adam Long are kind of just the same plays where, pretty good recent form, especially given the field. But Taylor Pendrith was in contention last week, and that's why he's priced up above those guys instead of priced at, that 7K price point range. But Krishan Bazuna ranking out really well. Brian Harmon, strong play. A little bit of leverage there. Aaron Wise, pretty low owned. Davis Riley, pretty low owned. And then Justin Rose. So Justin Rose, he wasn't popping for me at all. I kind of want to see why the data somewhat likes him here. Popping in my eyes. So 10th place finish at this event last year, miscut the year before that, 3 straight make cuts in a row. Top 12 staff it. I guess Justin Rose has been playing some decent golf. Let's pull up the recent form just so we can kind of see that as well. Just look over his last, 8 starts or so. Just kind of see what he's been doing. Yeah, that is pretty good. 1 miscut or 2 miscuts in there. A little bit of upside. I guess I get it. I could see that. Obviously, you'd want the recent form to be a little bit better there with Justin Rose, but interesting stuff there from him. He is someone I could see us getting on him. That would make some sense to me. Let's go a little bit lower here. Just trying to find the difference between Alex Smalley and Adam Svensson. Not that huge. You could easily end up on Smalley a little bit more. Chris Goddard, strangely not high owned. He's ranking out as a leverage play this week, guys. Look at that. After weeks of being over-owned and overvalued, especially given his price point, we are getting him as someone that we could jump on for ownership purposes. Now, that is interesting to me. Just speaking of Goddard and another guy that I'll touch on here, Taran, who's, he's almost over-owned. Great Yahoo plays. They're both minimum priced. You can make solid builds. I've been doing that for a couple of weeks, and Yahoo's been very nice to me the last few weeks. And that's where slates matter, or where you're playing matters. Some weeks it's not your fault on DraftKings where you have a bad week. It was just kind of the pricing kind of forced you into a lineup path. Whereas maybe FanDuel or Yahoo didn't do that. So it doesn't hurt to play on, different platforms. But at the same time, that's kind of why we do betting purposes, because, we do the research and then we can apply that to betting after the fact, where you could bet some of the top 10, top 20, like Taran. 9 to 5 Nation has benefited from top 10 bets from him for the last month now, which has been fun. But just looking at players that are over-owned compared to other players in their price range, we're not getting crazy here. Harris English, decent spot for ownership leverage. These guys are nothing too crazy. I do want to point out the fact that Adam Scott, a golfer that did rank out as the only core play this week, is not that high owned. Okay, 10% ownership. 8th rated player in the 95 mile. Ranks out as one of the best leverage rank plays you can make. Strangely enough, people are defaulting to Sun Jam a little bit more, even though Shane Lowry, only $100 more and a slightly better play, Ben safer play as well. That I found very interesting. That is a great leverage spot as well. Lowry should probably be 20% owned. I think safety and wise, decent price point. I do like Henley. I do like Billy Horschel. I do like Corey Connors. This is where it makes sense that they're all getting ownership there. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.